I have a question for you. How many of you remember having a slingshot when you were little? I'm not talking about the fancy type with the wrist guards and all that kind of stuff. I'm talking about the old school Bart Simpson slingshot. How many of you remember breaking windows and hitting cats with rocks and trying to see who could shoot it into the air the furthest without it coming back down to hit you in the top of the head? Anybody? Well, sometimes I believe that the most practical things and the things that we're actually very familiar with can bring about the best lessons in life if you really pay attention to them, and the slingshot's no different. You see, one thing that made the slingshot stand out is the fact that in order for you to use it correctly, you had to apply some tension. It had to have some pressure put on it. It had to have a setback. In order for something to move forward, it had to be pulled back first. And if you didn't pull it back far enough, then it wouldn't travel very far. But if you pulled it back pretty strong, something magical would happen. Wherever you aimed it is wherever your projectile would go. I don't think it's very different in life. You know, we all have certain times when things just seem like they're falling apart, and you can count that as a setback. Parents got divorced, setback. Lost your job, setback. Can't seem to gain and maintain your health, setback. Relationship falls apart, setback. Struggling in the class, setback. Family members that are always feuding and things just going wrong, setback. But here's the thing, with the slingshot, the further back you set it, the more potential it has to work better. But if you hold that tension too long, that cord will break. And that's my point. I think that some of us have become so familiar with the tensions of life that we've accepted it as our truth and our reality when it's time for you to let go. The only way for a slingshot to be used the way it's supposed to be used is for you to allow the setback and then the release. But if you're still holding on to yesterday's pains and trauma, you can never move forward. All I'm doing is saying this: I challenge you to allow your setbacks, no matter how they may have come about, to project you forward. But first, you have to release yourself. You have to release yourself from the label of being a failure. You have to release yourself from being ashamed. You have to release yourself. Give yourself some grace. Some of you are so hard on yourselves because of things that happened to you. And you know what? Some of those things that happened, it wasn't your fault. There was nothing you could have done about it. But it happened, and you had to deal with it. But you know what? The further back you're pulled, if released at the right time, you can fly. And that's what I'm telling you. I believe that some of you all are stuck in the setback stage, but you got to let go. You got to let go of whatever it is that you're allowing to hold you back, because here's what most people fail to realize. If you were sitting in the sling yourself, if you turned around, you would realize the fingertips look very familiar. That's because they're yours. More times than not, the things that are holding us back the most is us. We are the very ones that hold ourselves in place while blaming the rest of the world for our shortcomings and failures and procrastination. I'm just saying, own it. Whatever it may be. Doesn't mean it's going to be easy. Doesn't mean it's going to be fun. But I'll tell you, after having been told that I wasn't college material, after my parents having divorced at a young age, after having been the victim of terrible bullying in middle school, after having terrible self-esteem, setback. And I'll tell you, eventually I let go. And when I did, I ended up with a wonderful family. When I let go, I ended up with my bachelor's. When I let go, I ended up a national champion in USA track and field. When I let go, I ended up with my master's from Duke University. Look, the only reason I am where I am is because I allowed myself to be free. I let go. I stopped holding on to yesterday while hoping for tomorrow, and I chose to live in the present. That's why they call it the gift. It's the present. So treat today like it's today. Treat yourself like you were the one in the sling. But do me a favor and turn around and notice your fingertips. Those are your fingertips. It's pinching that little piece together. When you decide it's time to fly, then let go. It's your man KD. We'll talk soon.